All right, let's go. All right, let's go, Tim.
Okay, this is Sunday morning. So last night, Edmonton and Toronto were playing, and everyone wants to know, Dad, what'd you think of Reeves' hit on Darnell Nurse?
You know, it's a funny thing. Nobody ever could come around like that with their head down, because the wingers would leave and come, and as soon as they saw you do that once, and
They get you the next time.
They get you the next time.
And that's what happened. Reeves came off his wing.
Yeah.
And Darnell Nurse had no idea what was going on, eh, Del?
No, not at all. Caught blindsided.
So, in the old days, Dad, like you were saying, in the 80s, that would have been, what?
Good hit.
Good hit, 2 minutes maybe for charging.
Gets the crowd back in it.
How many games do you think he'll get?
He'll get 5.
5? Yeah. What do you think,
That's
Del?
what I figured.
Probably 3.
I'm thinking he might get more. I think he might get about maybe 7.
Well,
But I hope he doesn't. But it was funny, Dad, because you and I were talking this morning about it. We said Mitch Marner will never get hit like that.
Mitch Marner knows exactly anything that goes on. If it happens to him, it'll be by accident.
Yeah, because you look like Marner. His head's on a swivel.
No.
He's never looking like caught looking at the puck.
It's funny, when Nurse was coming around the net, he was looking right down at the puck.
Yeah.
No question at all that he was going to come out with the puck.
Right, because you always said this, and you've heard Dad say this, that Nurse could do that 99 times and nothing happened.
Yeah.
But the 100th time,
Something
happens.
Yeah, and Reeves would be on the ice, and he left his wing and got him.
So, Dad, Friday, you and I sat down. Del, did you watch the
I did
Jake
watch
Paul
it. I
Tyson
did.
fight? What'd you think, Dad?
Oh, 12 o'clock. It was a little late.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was going on? The network there.
Like, that was Netflix's first time they were doing a live event like that.
Like that, yeah.
And there were so many people watching that, like, their bandwidth on their computer couldn't handle it.
Oh, is that what
So, because
happened?
remember, we were sitting going, what's going on? And all
Yeah,
that. But,
just going around and around.
yeah. But, like, everybody's kind of ripping Tyson and thing.
No, Tyson was pretty good. He did his best.
He did his best,
Yeah.
And the other guy wouldn't stand still.
Yeah, no.
If he had to stand still, that might have been a different story.
Yeah. But, if you're a boxing guy, and you and I are boxing guys, Dad, like the first fight wasn't very good, but the second fight would be between Barros and Ramos. That was a really good fight.
That was a dynamite fight.
It was a little guy got knocked down, then he came out and he knocked down the big guy, and they went at it for 10 rounds.
They did a good job.
And then the women's fight, that was Taylor and Serrano. That was like a Rocky movie.
Holy, it was, boy, that was a big cut she had over her eye.
She did butter. Well, it's funny, though, that if you listen to the guys that know what's going on, like Roy Jones Jr. was commentating with Rosie Perez, get that. But anyway, and at the beginning of the fight, he said, you got to watch their heads because one was a southpaw and one was orthodox.
Yeah.
And he says, their heads will clash when you have that. And sure enough, that's what happened. But once she got cut, the Irish girl, kept
Hitting that spot.
Butting her head against it. For people who are complaining about it, you had 2 great fights. Two fights that if you would have paid for, you would have been happy with.
Oh, yeah, you would have been happy for
Yeah.
sure.
Did you see in the UFC last night, Trump came into at Madison Square Gardens?
Yeah, and
Place just went insane.
Really?
Yeah.
he used to go to those fights all the time.
Yeah. And then when the guy won, he kind of did the little Trump dance at the end, Jones. So it was funny. But I always think that in boxing, we told that story. Remember we went to see at the Boston Gardens, we went to see the fights?
I remember there was 2 fat guys. No, it was 1 fat guy and one skinny guy, and the fat guy was really good.
And they just beat the hell out of each other.
Oh, it was
For
unbelievable.
5 rounds. It was crazy.
And when the main event come on, it was quiet.
They're kind of
quiet.
dancing.
He was quiet. And some guy hollered with a loud voice, Bring back the fat guy.
It's more entertaining.
And just threw it.
Oh, the whole place
just went nuts.
Yeah. Well, I remember the time, too, you said you played an afternoon game at the Gardens, and then you stayed after because there was going to be a fight that night. That's how quickly they switched it over. There was a fight that night, so the Bull Gang switched it over. And then remember you had 2 beers?
I had 2 beers, and I had my blue coat on, and so I was going down to sit, and everybody was looking at me, and, coming in.
Not 2 beers. You had a beer in both hands.
But beer in both hands. I didn't know those seats would pack up.
Yeah.
And I pushed the seat down, and then I went to sit down and went right to.
Oh, you went right to the floor.
And never spilled a drop.
Yeah.
Got up and I picked up, and everybody gave me a standing ovation.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Cool.
So anyway, that was pretty good. I mean, that was Netflix event, first light event, and because they're going to start doing more sports now.
Yeah. Do you think an event like that helps the boxing name?
I think it does.
Yeah.
I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Bringing a big name like Tyson back into it.
Well,
bringing
life. Tyson back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think those 2 fights before, like if you're a fight fan or you're kind of a fight fan, or let's say you're a UFC fan and you watch those 2 fights, you're going,
they were 2 dandies.
Yeah. Dad, Conor McDavid got his 1,000th point, and I remember you and I seeing him when he was 13 years old, and we said, better keep an eye on that kid. What was his name? McDougal or McDonough or something? But the funny thing happened was he scored his 1,000th point in the game, and all the Oilers jumped on the ice. So I remember that used to happen all the time.
Really?
In the playoff, when I just think it was against the Bruins, Montreal. Scotty Bowman would send the whole team after. If it's 1-0 in the first period, he'd send the whole team on the ice. And you got mad and you talked to your Uncle Rich. You talked to Uncle Rich, your brother, and what did he say?
He said, you should send your team on. I said, what are you talking about? He said, send your team on and see what happens. And sure enough, and I sent the whole team on. I said, everybody on.
They went out over Tap and Cheever's pads.
Console the goalie.
And well, Cheever said, what the hell's going on here?
So they had 40 guys on the ice.
40 guys on the ice, mingling and
pushing and shoving.
It was tough. It was tough hockey back then. And he got a call the next day, don't do that again. I said, well, tell him not to do it either. And
did you guys get fined?
No.
You didn't get fined for that? You didn't get fined?
No, we wouldn't get fined for that. He never ever sent the guys on again after a goal, and I never sent my guys on after a goal.
So you guys ruined it for everybody.
Ruined it for everybody. Because the crowd used to like that.
Well, you're in Montreal, and they jumping the whole team's on the ice, and they're jumping around.
Yeah.
It's kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
That Dix, like O'Reilly's pushing somebody and Rysboro's saying something. The next thing you know, there would have been a bench. There would have been a big brawl.
And those guys, I remember that happened. And those guys were looking, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. I got to tell a funny story that I remember you did something in Montreal that Harry Sinden didn't like. The general manager of the Bruins didn't like.
Oh, yeah.
And I forget what it was. And he kind of read you the riot act saying, this is the Boston Bruins. Mm-hmm. We're one of the original 6. We have a reputation to uphold. You can't be doing that. I forget what you did, but he really got mad. And then he says, you can't be doing stuff like that. We're the Boston Bruins. We have a reputation, and I got a reputation. And then the next game, the ref called a penalty in the last minute to score against Montreal. What did you say?
I come around the corner, and there's Harry kicking the door. And 2 policemen got him by the shoulders, and he's kicking the door, and the referee. Harry and I got along pretty good for the first couple of years.
Okay, Dal, I got a quick one for you. You're a goalie, right? You play goal, all right? So, of course, Taylor Swift's in Toronto now. People don't know. It's just been a zoo in Toronto. So she played back-to-back-to-back concerts, 3.5 hours, dancing, jumping around for 3.5 hours. Has to sing 40 songs a night, so 120 songs. And how come she can do that back-to-back-to-back, and you can't get a goalie to do back-to-back?
Yeah, and they don't do that much work.
No, half the time they're standing there.
Hey, goalies do a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the equipment. It changes it.
We got to figure though. She's got to be in pretty good shape to be doing that.
Yeah.
To do three and a
yeah,
half.
but she does the same show all the time.
Yeah, still though, you're running around for 3.5 hours. Like they said, well, Springsteen does 3 hours. Yeah, but he just stands there.
Yeah.
So
She's all over the place.
she's all over the place. You remember the time you got Grace Taylor Swift tickets the first time she was in Toronto?
No.
So I've never asked you for anything, and I don't ever remember you asking anybody for a favor. So I went and I said, Dad, this singer Taylor Swift's coming. This was, I don't know how many years, probably 20 years ago. And I said, could you get Grace, your granddaughter, 2 tickets? So you didn't even know who she was. So you call up Tom Anselmi, who's the head of Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, and he owed you a couple of favors. And you said, Tom, can you do Don anything? What do you want? And you said 4 tickets to the Taylor Swift. And there was this dead silence. You know, holy crap, Don. Oh my God! You know how Dad goes. I don't even know who she is. So, but you got them.
I got them, and
yeah, she went to the concert and all that. We were really good, but you didn't tell me how much you paid for them. But I think you paid a lot of money.
I did. I paid a lot of money for them.
So, Del, let's go to some of the questions now that the fans have been asking.
Leafs 42. Hey, Graves, when you played, what kind of skates did you have, and what kind of stick did you have?
You know, it's a funny thing. I remember Joe Crozier coming in. Second year, I think it was, and he threw there was a pile of skates in the middle, and he says, "Take your pick. You can use any skates you want here." Black Panthers. I mean, the Black Panthers. I mean, the name of it was enough to turn you off. So, but I tried them on. They weren't too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bauer.
So how many pair of skates did you have?
I had 2 then. Oh boy, I used to have trouble breaking in skates. We used to stand in water.
Really?
Yeah, used to stand in water, and
Yeah, because they don't like now. They don't. That's a thing of the past. People wouldn't even believe that you had to break in a pair of skates.
yeah, we had to break in a pair of skates. It was hard. Hard.
I remember one time you came home and you were kind of limping a little bit, and I asked what happened, and you said I was breaking in a new pair of skates, and you lifted up your thing, and you had like your ankles on the side were all rubbed raw.
Oh yeah! Imagine not using your skates all year.
And then you got to go in and break them in.
And you have to go and break them in again. But the funny thing is, it was a long training camp. You used to have 4 to 5 weeks.
Really?
And I was in better shape when I first went there than at the end there.
Yeah, because you were construction the whole time, so you were in good shape.
I was in good shape. I come home Friday and start Monday.
Yeah, yeah, you would be no season off for you.
No,
finish up hockey on Sunday, and Monday you'd be at the Jackhammer.
Yeah, I'd be at the Jackhammer, that's for sure. It was a tough deal, you know, and come home. I'd take a week off in Hershey, and then I'd come home. I'd go and see the guy Friday and start Monday. Construction's got me in good shape for hockey. The rest of the guys used to take it easy, used to sell Molsons and stuff like that. I was in great shape.
Okay, Dal, what do we got next?
From Scotty C. Hey, Don. I just live outside Pembroke, Ontario. My family was friends with the Andersons. And did you ever play with Jimmy Anderson?
I played 4 years with Jimmy Anderson, and I remember he got hit along the blue line. He had 40 goals up until then. And imagine scoring 40 goals in the American Hockey League and not being called up. And I remember he got hit. I remember Ed Kruzanowski. That's who it was.
Hit him?
And he hit him right to the blue line, and boy, did he smack his head. And
wasn't the same after?
Yeah.
Well, I looked at his numbers before, and he was like for 4 or 5 years, he was 35 over 40 goals scorer in the American Hockey League every year.
And then after that, he tailed off. Boy, he could score.
What would he be making now in the NHL?
He'd be making about $8 million. And
must be tough, looking back at that,
I was always the 4th and 5th defenseman. Must be tough seeing those guys that scored 40 goals and 4 or 5 years in a row and not getting called up.
Okay, Del, we will do one more question.
All right, from Alan. Hey, Don. I lived in Niagara Falls all my life. Did you ever play or skate at the Stamford Arena? I skated there for years as a kid, and it was the coldest rink ever. They tore it down about 10 years ago. Love the podcast.
Boy, was it cold. And I remember Larry Cahan, I remember him saying to the coach, and I was listening, and he was saying, I like to visit my mother. He's not visiting his mother, going out with the guys. So he says, yeah, you can go ahead and visit your mother. And I come in, and there he was laying there. He was as stiff as a board, and he's still drunk. We had to leave him, and he was late, and he was going to get in trouble, and he was late. He come on the ice, and he had it was so cold. That was the coldest rink I was ever in. The dressing rooms were downstairs, and we went downstairs, and then we come up and we went on the ice, and he had a hockey sock on, and when he come up, he just killed us. He just killed us.
So is that the coldest rink you've been in?
That was the coldest rink I was ever in. I've been in a lot of cold rinks, believe me.